Alright, welcome back baseball fans. Another elimination video. We're eliminating the Texas Rangers in the final round of the postseason tournament in round 3. Couldn't get past the Twins. Also put them a game under 500 for the season. It was a little bit better than 2021. They were 16-22 last year with a similar batting average and a better ERA. This year, 20 and 21 makes them 5 games better. I think they got lucky though. The net runs, 180 runs scored and 198 given up, as the pitching really kind of did them in this year. Offensively, Merv Retman was the All-Star and flirted at 400 at the All-Star break, finished at 366. Howard Epstein, again, for the 3rd or 4th year in a row, they just club home runs for this Ranger team. Do their best. 53 homers overall for the squad. They injected some speed with Toby Harrah and Dave Nelson into the lineup. That helped a little bit, but the batting averages didn't. They hit 220. 250 as a team, and you can see a big chunk of that is below 250. Burrows at 259, 8 homer, 29 RBI. You see they've got a really nice nucleus of sluggers if they put their mind to it, with Burrows and Howard Epstein, Retman, and even Billy Canigliaro when he's playing. The pitching. Big game Bob Johnson, 6-4, 3 complete games in 90 innings, led the team. His ERA and whip is a little bit high for the card. Pete Broberg was 5-0 at one point and finished 5-2 with an ERA of 3. Nothing too shabby there. Frank Lindsay, as a setup guy, did quite well, leading the club in ERA and whip with 3 saves. And an unusual statistic here at the very bottom, last year, Paul Lindblad had an ERA of 6, exactly 6, and 3 saves as the closer. And a year later, Paul Lindblad has an ERA of 6.04 and 2 saves as the Ranger closer. There's something clearly going wrong with him. Just incredible bad luck. And maybe it's time to dangle him in a trade to the Oakland A's, who he would want to pitch for anyway. As a compliment to Raleigh Fingers in Oakland, and do very well. This is sort of the motive of the Rangers, is to keep guys away from the Oakland A's, such as Mike Epstein. They're keeping him away from Oakland. And so maybe they'll do the same with Lindblad. But it's not helping the Rangers, is it? Bill Hands, he had 120 games with a 69 card, so when we moved over to a new card, it just wasn't the same. Mike Paul's a nice left-handed starter, has a nice card. It just didn't work out either. And that's your Texas Rangers. So now it's time to take a look at the Ranger stack here and pull the 8 players of 1970 out and see who's going to be coming back next year for them. And I don't know. I mean, their farm system really wasn't good last time in the draft we saw, because it takes a while for. I mean, it took Toby Harrah and Lenny Randall and some of these other Ranger guys a while to become quality players. But I think Mike Hargrove might be coming along next year. These are the 8 guys whose contracts are up, and you see we got some big names in here. And so, yeah, they're going to have to make some decisions of how they go with their veterans. But as far as the present Rangers, they're going to load up with pitching and go 5 hitters, 7 pitchers to start next year. There's Epstein. Love this card. This was an Oakland card, but the Rangers held on to him from his Washington Senator roots and said, "You're not going to Oakland. We need you." Dick Billings, the catcher, until Sundberg shows up. There's Toby Harrah. And Dave Nelson, speed, A and B Steelers, and there's Burrows. So the young teen plus an old Epstein, but you still have a lot of holes to fill of the 5 there. You got almost an entire pitching staff, but the guy you're missing is your ace. That's not the guy that you want to be missing. So you have a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and 3 relievers. And of course, Lindblad, we talked about. An excellent card. How does this have an ERA of 6 2 years in a row? I mean, you really got to go out of your way to get the hits on this one. It's a really great year. 7-4, 279 for the Washington Senators. So again, they might want to think of letting him go to Oakland if they can get some nice compensation. Maybe like a Bill North or a Claudel Washington, something like that coming out of the Oakland system. That'd be nice. Get young A's for an Oakland lad. You don't have an ace. Bob Johnson's not here. So we have to find out if Bob Johnson's going to come back and anchor this pitching staff, or do they move on? So it's going to be interesting for the Rangers. I think they lost 100 games in one of those years in Texas during the relocation. So it's, you just have to cross your fingers and overachieve. And they have. This year they overachieved, and 2 years ago they did and made the playoffs. They'll probably be second fiddle to Oakland, but surely they can stay ahead of Seattle. And California is, they're even with them. So they have a chance at getting a wild card. But let's see what they do with their 1970 players. All right, let's take a look at what the Rangers do with their 8 players of 1970. Beginning with Bernie Allen, who had some nice moments a couple years ago in a playoff run and ended up in a platoon with MLB-Baseball-sport. Could play second and third base, good defensively. Was a Washington Senator, longtime Senator, twin Washington Senator, and a stint with the Yankees. So his 234 card we just used is up, and it was he really overachieved with that 234 card. He hit better than it 2 years in a row, so you should be glad about that. He actually will improve in 71 to a 266, 359, 734 card. That's going to be a nice card, so we're going to keep Bernie Allen. He's a good luck charm, think of it that way, the Rangers. All right, he's a keeper. Next player was Billy Conigliaro, not attached to the Rangers, but acquired in a deal with the Reds, who got him from the Red Sox in a deal. And he would play for the Red Sox, Milwaukee, and Oakland. So, this was a great card of 1970. Should have played more. Should have got an everyday player, but he was in a platoon with Ed Stroud, which might have been an issue with the Rangers. 801 OPS card. In 71 with the Red Sox, does pretty much the same kind of thing. Not quite as good, but still a quality card and a lot of plate appearances. So I think he is a keeper too, and if not, trade him or put him on waivers, but he's going to continue his career for at least one more year. Next up, oh boy folks, Mr. Frank Howard, most valuable Ranger Senator. Oh look, he's right there. So there's Frank Howard with the Washington Senator. He actually never did play for the Texas Rangers. You see Dodgers, Washington Senators. Oh, he did play for Texas in 72. So, but he did go to Detroit and wrap his career up. So we have the 71 All-Star card still available with an 840 OPS. Gotta think you go for it one more year. And then maybe another year after that, because I think he might have a platoon card in 72. So yeah, he's still gonna have some tread on the tires. Frank Howard, he'll be the third keeper. Good start for the Rangers. A team in transition who has 3 guys they want to keep already. Next player is Elliot Maddox, who's a little bit too young here to be quite as effective. 1970. Later in the decade, he's pretty good, but early on, not so much. You see, he's 248 the year he has, and then he gets 252 here. But in 74, it's 303 with the Yankees. He has a nice year with the Orioles and a nice year with the Mets. Now, this 303, this 1974 card has 8 MVP votes. This card is up next year, and it would currently be the property of the Texas Rangers. Gosh, you got to get that card in the league. I mean, he gets 8 MVP votes for Pete's sakes. With the Yankees. Now, the Yankees, do they come calling? They got Mercer, Roy White, and they got Ron Blomberg, who can play corner outfield, Danny Cater. So that's a keeper, if not a trader. You trade him away or keep him. So some interesting maneuvers. This is good, great news for the Rangers, that they have players that are versatile enough and they can be active in the offseason in the trade. Speaking of that, active in trading, here's a guy who's got some big lumber in him, Merv Retman. So 70 and 71, boom. 322 and 318, has 19 MVP votes in that 71 Orioles squad. They missed him, did the Orioles. They have Buford, Paul Blair, and Bunbury in the outfield. So after 71, though, it's not so much. So you're paying for a one-year player. He's obviously a keeper, but this is also a trade chip. They're going to find some sucker that trades for him, expecting, you know, a lot of reward, and they're only going to get one more good year out of Redmond. So, all right, two more guys. Tom Satriano. He was one of those many Boston catchers. They had a million of them. Angels, Red Sox in 69 and 70. And his career's over. That's it. So 70 was his last year. The card we just played. We can retire Tom Satriano. One more hitter and then one more pitcher. We have Ed Stroud. He got the bulk of the playing time in center field over Billy Conigliaro this past year because of the speed, defense, and as a left-handed batter, able to hit left-handed pitching well, was valued. Was a Washington Senator. Had some nice stolen base years. Stole 29 bases in 70. That's another reason why couldn't quite get to be a double-A stealer. Made him a single-A. So that was a kind of a shame. But in 71, this card may qualify for waivers. 158 plate appearances for the White Sox in 71. Let's see if it qualifies. Go to superds.tripod.com. Take a look at the roster sheet for the Chi Sox. And see if Mr. Stroud exists. Probably will. No, they don't. They didn't print his card. Look at that. White Sox, Don Eddy, Mike Hirschberger, Rich Hinton, Rich Morales are the Chi Sox extra dudes in 71. And in the outfielders for the Chi Sox, we've got Johnstone, Kelly, Reichert, Walt Williams. He is not listed as a White Sox player with this card. And probably for good reason, because it's 177. 4 stolen bases, got caught 5 times. Yeah. You really don't want to put him on waivers because no one's going to claim it. So that'll be retired. And next and finally, Big Game Bob Johnson. He deserves his own video, doesn't he? Comparing Big Game Bob Johnson. He was a Kansas City Royal. Look at all the Bob Johnsons. Make sure you find the right one here. You think you want this one. Yes, that's the one you want. Tall, 6'4", power, flamethrower, at least he was in 70. This is the big year that had 4 tries in the league. Ignore the 8-13 record. And even a 3.07 ERA, the card looks much better than that. 214 innings, 206 strikeouts. He led the league in hit by pitch, but fortunately they don't show up on pitchers' cards, do they? That helps the dude out. The card plays much better than the stats, and did for 4 years. But now it has to go away. Great year for Kansas City. Kansas City should have held on to him instead of trading him to Texas for Horacio Pena. That's going to be a mistake. He moves on to the Pirates in 71. He would be on that World Series team. Let's see how he played in the 71 series. He lost his, a start in 5 innings. Got hit around a little bit in that start. But yeah, in the championship series he threw 3 innings in 72, and there you go. He pitched well in a National League Championship Series in 71 for the Pirates. Good stuff there, good stuff. So Bob Johnson does have this kind of mystique about him. And you see 72 for the Pirates is a 2.96 ERA, pretty much like 1970. Doesn't pitch on 3 days rest anymore. The Rangers, however, might go to a 5-man rotation and have nobody pitch on 3 days rest and go with a 3-man bullpen like they just did. And I think you got to keep him. You made that trade. Pittsburgh probably is not going to want to trade for him. I think Pittsburgh's happy with their rotation. They've got Blass and Moose and Rooker and Keeson. And yeah, I don't think they're going to make a move there. Cleveland, yeah. I keep him. This is the Rangers. You need help. The Rangers are going to keep Big Game Bob Johnson. And so now, you see you have 6 keepers and 2 retires. Now, a team without imagination would just put 2 of these keepers on waivers, like Bernie Allen, put them on waivers, Billy Canigliaro, just put them on waivers and get ready to draft. But the Rangers should consider, like, make some phone calls and give up some of these keepers, a couple of them, and trade them for a guy they're going to put on waivers, and then maybe you can trade away like a Dick Billings that you don't really need, or maybe you can get rid of, get rid of some of these pitchers like a Bill Gogolewski or Denny Riddleberger, or somebody you don't. They have Tom Satriano. Yeah. Or just find a better keeper than the ones they have. But 6 keepers for this team. They can only keep 4, so they're going to have to get on the phone, make trades. If not make trades, put guys on waivers. So that's the story of the Texas Rangers. It's a good story. You want to have more than less, of course. Have some versatility, and be sought after at the trade carousel. All right, thanks for tuning in to this Eliminating the Texas Rangers. We'll see you next time.